Before you sit down for that first Walmart meeting with your buyer, it is imperative that you understand as a supplier your capacity, specifically capacity when it comes to your feature space. And here to tell us more about that and what goes on behind the curtain is Mr. Kerry Bailey from Menasha. Great to have you back with us, Kerry.
Thanks, Jared.
Now, we were talking before about sort of two timelines that happen when you sit down with the buyer for the first time. Tell us a little bit about what goes on after that first buyer meeting.
Well, that first buyer meeting for the sales side of the supplier, at least, is to find a go and no go. The go sets two timelines in motion. To your point, internally, Walmart's moving down a timeline to get that to an OTIF position. The supplier has got to kick the supply chain process in motion at that juncture.
Now, as they're beginning that capacity conversation, we step in here this first part on the supply chain. What is someone like a Menasha thinking about? Because you've worked with so many suppliers on this side of the timeline.
Right. I think as part of the resources available to suppliers is when we come to the table, one of the things that we're going to do is provide them optimization. The customization doesn't have to be the enemy of optimization. The ultimate goal is to deliver everyday low cost for an everyday low price at retail. And that process, from our standpoint, is the employment of design, innovation, and creative, which again, doesn't have to be the enemy of optimization. But that gets that in motion as we start to work with the inventory from that supplier. And that work in process that's taken place along the way is at least working at the optimum side of all stores application for that feature, at that point in time at least.
So we've got the customization optimization timeline going down here. We're planning out our feature. What are some of the things that you are thinking about as the Walmart timeline starts to go and some of the obstacles that can come back on that supplier?
Right. Well, one of the things we're thinking about is, number one, make sure we have enough, all right? That's the optimum side of the capacity plan. But the second thing we're thinking about is the optimization piece. That optimization piece is about designing that item or that feature with the ability to be a little bit more modular, if you will, so that in the circumstance that we do get a lesser number commit on the PO, lesser number of stores, that the supplier has something able to do with that inventory and with that supply chain merchandise that's been built for that feature.
So Walmart is working on its timeline, going through, like you see here, the analytics and the big data. Then you've got your customization, optimization of the feature. Now we've got our PO date. What's happening at that PO date for both timelines?
Well, now it's real, right? And we've got a PO, we know what we're going to ship, and we start to use the network. And from our standpoint, our network of resources then starts to look at logistics and distribution. Where's this merchandise going to land? Because we're not going to miss that OTIF, right? So that on time and in full is going to be met. How do we leverage what we've built and put it in motion towards hitting that date? Now, the downside is, or the other side of the equation is that we may have overbuilt. Because remember, we started with thinking we had to have plenty of capacity to fulfill this obligation. So now, the secondary offer of that WIP is to recirculate it. And that's really that optimization feature. Did we design it so it had secondary placement? Can it filter back into that supplier's inventory and be part of a flow offering later on? Or can it offer a second promotional period utilizing the same resources that we did in the initiation of the supply chain process?
So I'm a brand new supplier, and this has just opened my eyes because I want to land that Walmart account this year. Maybe I'm a seasoned supplier and I want to approach them about some feature space. What do I need to think about as I want to take on a capacity partner?
I think what you want to look today is who has the network that really fits your form and function of your merchandise. Where is it located? Where are your best delivery points? From a manufacturing standpoint or a resource standpoint, what can you handle internally? What can your partner provide externally, okay, that can add value without influencing everyday low cost? Because that's the most critical thing. And partners that can help you exercise a network of resources, exercise capacity planning, partners who can touch and move your merchandise along the way without increasing costs, those are your most valuable resources.
All right. Kerry Bailey from Menasha, always great to have you on the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jared.